Envision yourself living in a smart city, a vast urban area surrounded by autonomous electric cars, situated in the heart of the American West Desert. It would have state-of-the-art infrastructure and well-designed highways, a mad multi-billion-dollar scheme to build a future city with ambitions and a scale similar to Saudi Arabia's The Line. The futuristic metropolis of Telosa will spark your interest in that ultimate smart city life. This is Luxury Prima. In addition to being the city of the future, Telosa is a planned community that aims to be a whole new social paradigm. Like mega projects such as Saudi Arabia's NEOM, these planned megacities are an attempt to address the pressing issues of the modern world, such as pollution, climate change, and overcrowding. These future cities seek to reinterpret what it means to start from zero and build a thriving city that is equitable, resilient, inclusive, and sustainable for all of its citizens. The ancient Greek word telos, the greatest purpose, is where the term Telosa originates. U.S. billionaire Mark Lohr is the creator of Telosa, which was first made public September 2021. Not long after leaving his position as president and chief executive officer of the massive American retailer Walmart, Lohr declared his bold intention to establish the planned community of Telosa. He hopes to create a more equitable and sustainable future that can become a blueprint of future generations. With this ambitious initiative, renowned Danish architect Bjarke Ingels, who was previously hired by Toyota to design a smaller smart future city in Japan, will be in charge of Telosa's master planning. According to Lohr, the idea of Telosa is to build a city based on the requirements of its citizens, which is also the reason it is being developed in the first place. Currently, over half of the world's population resides in cities. By 2050, this percentage is predicted to rise to as high as 70%. Cities now serve as significant hubs for millions of people's access to economic, scientific, and educational opportunities. Furthermore, while a small number of people have benefited greatly from urbanization, not everyone is directly impacted by this increase. It is this widening wealth disparity that Lohr and Telosa are attempting to address. The intention is to create a city where all citizens, regardless of socio-economic status or cultural background, will have equal possibilities for personal development. The core of the plan is an economic system called Equitism, which aims to realize this goal of equality. The purpose of this approach is to establish a community in which the residents will directly profit from the city's expansion. Under this arrangement, Telosa will be the sole owner of the city's property, but its residents will have the ability to develop and market their homes on that ground. The people behind Telosa intend to establish the city on arid terrain in the American West, specifically in Nevada, Utah, Idaho, Arizona, or Texas. However, the exact location has not yet been determined. Another thought is that the metropolis should be constructed in the eastern Appalachian region. However, given all the space in the U.S. that is accessible, why are they going to develop Telosa in the midst of the desert? This decision was made in part because the American West has an abundance of cheap, easily accessible, undeveloped property. Furthermore, if the city expands, this inexpensive land may eventually pay for itself thanks to Telosa's strategy to reinvest in rising land values in city services. It's not exactly the most ideal or wisest project to establish a thriving metropolis in the middle of the desert. These issues, which Telosa may face in the future, have been well demonstrated by Saudi Arabia's recent building on NEOM and The Line. NEOM's construction is already behind schedule. It was first supposed to be partially finished by 2020 and built upon in 2025. It turns out that in order to build an undeveloped desert land. Operational facilities must first be built in order to house workers and construction equipment in the harsh weather. Other issues NEOM and the line are now dealing with include extreme heat, water scarcity, and the energy cost of building a whole metropolis from the ground up in a hostile environment. It is also intended for Telosa to run entirely on renewable energy. Telosa will be powered in addition by wind turbines positioned at various points along the city's perimeter. The city is designed to produce more electricity than it uses, meaning it can generate its own electricity. The highest building in the city, the Equitism Tower, will also be located in the center of Telosa and act as a symbol of the city and a famous landmark. In addition to an elevated water storage system and aeroponic fields that will provide the city with fresh produce, the tower will also have an observation deck, an urban planning and transportation infrastructure that enables inhabitants to always be within only a 15-minute commute of important destinations and services, including offices, schools, parks, stores, and restaurants, is another factor in Telosa's layout. In contrast to the line, which will prioritize mass transportation and be entirely pedestrian-centric, Telosa will combine meticulously designed transit infrastructure with driverless electric cars. The city will apply the superblock idea of urban design, which prioritizes slow-moving EVs and bicycles on interior roadways, while concentrating heavy traffic on the block's edges. This accomplishes two objectives. First, it makes sure that people can move between blocks with ease. Second, it places residential neighborhoods sufficiently apart from busy streets to prevent excessive noise. There will be two stages to the building of Telosa. The ambitious goal is to finish the first phase by 2030. At this stage of development, the city would be able to accommodate up to 50,000 people over a 6-square-kilometer area, or about twice the size of Central Park in New York. After it is finished, the second phase of construction intends to spend the following 40 years completely developing the remaining portion of the city. By then, it is anticipated that the metropolis, which has a total area of more than 120 square kilometers, will be home to over 5 million people. In contrast, Telosa will be the same size as San Francisco, but home to a population that is more than 6 times that of San Francisco. The project's overall estimated cost, including money from federal and state grants, as well as possible private investors, is as high as $400 billion. Comparatively, the line is anticipated to cost a similar $500 billion, entirely financed by the Saudi government and its sovereign wealth fund. Mark Lohr and his team must get beyond money, which is one of the largest obstacles to the development of planned communities such as these, in order to implement Telosa's extremely ambitious plan and vision for the future. Convincing the government and private investors to lend you billions of dollars to create a vision that might not come to pass is not an easy task. Telosa asserts that its citizens will be at the center of the city's growth, promising to be different, but even so, a sizable amount of money will be required before this absurd mega project can even get started. Nonetheless, Mark Lohr and his team remain upbeat and committed to realizing their goal of creating the most inclusive and sustainable city in the world by 2030, even in the face of escalating financial and environmental obstacles and the fact that construction hasn't begun for over a year. Telosa's project lead, John Mallon, wrote an email to Smart Cities Dive this November, saying, "We continue our efforts to develop partnerships and collaborations, find a location, add advisors and thought leaders in key areas of focus, and are working with our community to understand what is important to them." He declined to provide a schedule for choosing the location. In your opinion, what could Telosa accomplish that NEOM could not? Do you believe Telosa will ever be finished building? Tell us in the comment section below. Check out our video to find out more about Project NEOM in Saudi Arabia, which is now undergoing development. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.